Greetings from Pittsburgh, and good morning RNA members, conference attendees, sponsors, all of you watching on Facebook Live, and all of you who care about religion in journalism, especially in 2020. On behalf of the Religion News Association, I am thrilled to welcome you to our first ever virtual conference. Yay! I wish I could be welcoming you in person, and don't we all wish we could be together? But our conference organizers have put much effort and creativity into enabling this conference to provide 2 days of timely informational sessions, as well as opportunities for networking and socializing, all the things that are so valued year after year by those of us who value the coverage of religion in the news. I particularly want to welcome our first-time attendees to our RNA conference. I've attended more than a dozen RNA conferences over the years, and I think I can speak for any of us returning attendees how valuable it has been to meet together, learning with each other, learning from each other, and building the camaraderie that we value even as we return to our far-flung places throughout the rest of the year to pursue our craft. Some of us call our gathering a nerd prom, but I'll pull rank and declare you all some of the coolest kids I have ever known. Much as I wish we could meet in person, we all know the drill about this year, and what a year. This is 2020, and this is our story. Whether you've been reporting from your virtual command centers at home, or from the front lines of hospital wards, street protests, and campaign rallies, you have been deeply immersed in covering this epic year of pandemic, shutdowns, racial reckonings, and superheated politics. As I follow your work online, I've been endlessly impressed with the ways you've stepped up to say, that's our story. Religion is always in the room, as our friend Liz Kenneke says. And this year, of course, it is always in the Zoom. You're keeping at it. Even as our industry continues to suffer major cuts and mergers, something many of you are experiencing personally with layoffs and cuts in freelance opportunities. You continue to demonstrate with your diligent work that covering religion news is essential to covering the news, period. I also look forward to our honoring your best work with our virtual awards ceremony. You all gave the judges tough choices from such excellent work. Our contest chair, Jeff Diamond, has a great awards presentation in store for you. Thank you also to our judges. So, our staff and conference committee have worked hard to pull together a virtual conference with 2020 topical panels. We've got sessions on the intersections of religion with politics, COVID, grief, race, and religious liberty. We've got breakout sessions where you'll have opportunities to talk shop and have dialogues about getting started on the beat, about job opportunities, book writing opportunities, and how to get more involved with RNA. And we've got virtual social hours where we can just hang out and chat, or if you're so inclined, share some of your skills in cooking, karaoke, or Pictionary. So normally at this point, when we're all gathered together in the ballroom, I'd ask a number of you to stand up and be recognized for the work you've done in making this conference happen. And while you can always stand up if you want, wherever you are, please indulge me while I name some names so you can still be recognized. It really does take a large community to pull together this conference, and I really want to show the appreciation to a number of people here. I'd like to thank the Religion News Foundation for once again being our primary conference sponsor this year. In particular, I'd like to thank RNF's CEO, Deborah Caldwell. Many of you remember Deborah as a longtime RNA colleague during her years of stellar work with the Dallas Morning News and BeliefNet, and she is a champion of the work we are all committed to. I'm grateful to her hardworking staff, including Judy Golub, Emily Churchill, and Laura Wilson. And I'd like to thank the RNF board chair, Mohammed Chaudhry, and all my colleagues on the RNF board, Ken Chitwood, Tom Levinson, Betsy Shirley, John Terrell, John Turner, outgoing member Nicole Gupta, and incoming member Steve Waldman. We are particularly grateful that in this time of pandemic and recession, the Foundation has initiated the RNF Religion Journalist Relief Fund to help those of us in need. I'd also like to thank the Fetzer Institute for continuing its support for our mission with its conference sponsorship this year. Your RNF conference committee met for months planning what we thought would be a normal in-person conference in Bethesda, Maryland. And when they had to turn on a dime and plan a virtual conference, they made it happen. I'd like to thank RNF conference committee chairs, Deepa Barath, Jack Gordon, and Dina Zingaro, and conference committee members Aisha Khan, Danae King, Elizabeth Evans, Julia Dean, Catherine Burgess, Menachem Wecker, Roxanne Stone, Carol Kurolavila, Dave Schechter, Julie Zosmer, Liam Adams, Sarah Ventry, and Zachary Davis. Our Chief Operating Officer for RNA, Tiffany McCallan, was proactive in recognizing by late March that this pandemic thing didn't look to be over in a few weeks, but that we needed to pivot fast on our conference plans. I'm grateful for all she accomplished in pulling together this event and for all she does in general. She's now a one-person RNA staff. I'd also like to thank Brian Peet, our longtime audio-visual director, who is using his usual magic at the controls and has worked hard to master the art of making the virtual reality. Wendy Gustafson, our longtime conference sales director, has equally dived into the new world of recruiting virtual sponsors, and we are grateful for her work. And we owe a great debt of continued gratitude to our recently retired business manager, Amy Shiska. It's been a privilege to serve as your president for the past 2 years and to work alongside the dedicated, intelligent, and collegial group that is the RNA board. I'd like to recognize our president-elect, Betsy Shirley, and board members Dawn Aruja Hawkins, Ken Chitwood, Deepa Barath, Holly Meyer, Jeff Diamond, Jack Gordon, Elaine Justice, and Dina Zingaro. And in particular, I'd like to salute outgoing board member Manya Brashear Pashman, whose continued dedication to our association is shown by the fact that she served out all 9 years, count them, of the maximum three-year terms that she could serve, not to mention serving 3 years as president. We are grateful for her service and look forward to her continued work on our behalf. And now a few housekeeping announcements. First, a plea for mercy and patience. All of us have given our best effort to making this conference a success, but I also want to ask for forbearance. None of us have ever done this before. We hope you'll embrace our 2-day event in the same way as our tiny event staff works from their living rooms and at the mercy of the local internet provider. We may bobble some things along the way, but we'll do our best to keep everything up and running smoothly. So, in case of emergencies, if the webinar shuts off, please wait a few minutes and then log back on. We'll send an announcement via email and social channels if something catastrophic happens. Tech help. Send a text message to 740-263-7875 if you need assistance. Best thing to do is to try log off, log back on, unplug any headphones, check your home internet connection. Code of conduct. Posted on RNA's conference page, rna.org/RNA2020, and on the schedule page are links to RNA's code of conduct. All conference participants are required to follow this policy, which aims to foster robust dialogue and collegiality and to protect one another from any potential harassment. Chat boxes. During the general sessions, attendees may converse with all meeting participants via the chat box. Everyone will see your comments, so plan accordingly. Do not submit comments and questions via the for the panelists via the chat. Rather, use the Q&A box. So, the Q&A box. When asking a question, pose your full name and your outlet employer name if you have an affiliation, so that our moderators can reference that for speakers during the Q&A portion of panels. You may submit questions at any time, but we'll hold them all until the end and answer them together. Now, if we're in person, we often have a little gaggle at the panel table after an event, but in lieu of that, we're going to have green rooms. So after each general session, attendees may meet with speakers for additional questions in our green room/breakout room side meeting, accessible via the conference links sent to you yesterday. Speaker participation will vary according to their availability. Breakout rooms, green rooms, evening social hours, please use the links provided in the email sent yesterday afternoon with the subject 2020 RNA virtual session links. Note that participants in these side meetings will have the full use of video and audio. Please make sure you use your full name when entering breakouts or admission may be denied. Members meeting. Of course, for RNA members, we have our annual business meeting this afternoon. We've got important business to talk about with proposed bylaw revisions, so we ask that all members be sure to attend. Members should have received an email link to the meeting on September 16, or you can look up the link on our member Facebook group today for the link. And now, let the conference begin.